So the last couple of days have been absolutely crazy for crypto. And you guys might have noticed it already, but these were some of the wildest days we've ever seen. And the reason I've not been posting too many videos is mostly because I've been dialed in, focusing on every single announcement and seeing what the results would be. We stated a while back that most likely the Trump announcement of a reserve with some altcoins would be extremely bullish. I will add now that this announcement, this meeting, this crypto White House meeting came yesterday, and the results were kind of shocking, or surprising rather. So one of the most interesting parts has to do with the fact that a Bitcoin strategic reserve order was officially signed by Trump. Now that on its own, I would say, is the biggest thing that could have ever happened for crypto. The fact that the United States will not sell their crypto anymore, but hold and potentially accumulate more, just on its own is such a powerful thing. It legitimizes the entire space. And I think it's a place of it's just a center or a new bottom from where we're starting to build. So right now, we've got the US having this reserve and stockpiling it because they already missed out on, I think, like $17 billion or so by selling their crypto that they got from these, let's call it heists or seizes, whatever you want to call it. But again, even though right now a very big narrative that's ongoing is that Trump really doesn't even care about this. Let's just quickly play this one.
Never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows, right?
Well, it's interesting. By the way, it might be too light here. I'll figure it out later. Anyway, so that it showcases. Partially, he wants to distance himself a little bit, but it's also with the order he signed. He signed and he basically stated, I promised this, right? I promised this. I was going to do this. I said I was going to do this, right? So if you're wondering about the exact detail, Margot Martin here has a video. Let's quickly go ahead and watch this one as well.
Today we're signing, this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in fully?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And they made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a good one.
But this was all just basically part one, right? As it was basically the moment where he established, hey, they're not actually going to be dumping their coins anymore. But it was not the moment where they fully went in on, discussing what the future would be. This was not the summit. This was just signing executive orders. And now, by the way, I will say a lot has happened over the past few days. There's also, but I'll talk about this later, a new Sam Bankman-Fried interview that he basically did with Tucker Carlson, which apparently was not allowed. Not, I guess confirmed, or however you call it. Not he didn't ask permission for it, and apparently there's some repercussions. Extremely interesting though. He's apparently in a prison with Diddy. If you know, that's pretty interesting. Regardless, if we're going a bit further, more towards the actual meeting, one of the things that came out was the White House said Bitcoin is digital gold. President Trump said globalists are behind the stock market sell-off. The crypto tsar David Sachs says the U.S. government sold 195,000. This is actually before sold 195,000 Bitcoin for 366 mil, and it could have been worth 17 billion now had they not sold it. But here we've got the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, who basically gave his opinion on the whole matter. He said, "Historic day at the White House Digital Assets Summit. Thanks to the President of the United States' leadership, along with David Sachs, the U.S. now has a strategic Bitcoin reserve and emerging regulatory clarity. This is directly translating to economic growth in the U.S. For instance, Coinbase plans to hire about 1,000 employees in the U.S. this year as a result of this renewed growth. We'll continue to build the industry in America to ensure the U.S. remains a leader in technology and finance." And I'll add, Ripple will probably do the same. Multiple US-based currencies will probably do a similar sort of thing. And interestingly enough, Coinbase is digitizing their stock. They're making a tokenized version of it. I should say tokenizing their stock. It's going to be interesting. together with the fact that the NASDAQ is updating, NASDAQ to offer 24-hour trading on its stock exchange, things are getting interesting for the world of finance. But let's quickly watch this video.
Brian Armstrong, Coinbase CEO here. The West Wing is right behind me. We just left the Digital Asset Summit at the White House. It was an incredible event, really a historic moment for our industry, and President Trump has breathed life back into the crypto industry. Coinbase is planning to hire about 1,000 people here in the United States this year as a direct result of his actions already in the first 60 days or so. So these policies really matter, and this is the most pro-crypto Congress we've ever seen as well. All of you all out there helped elect pro-crypto candidates with StandWithCrypto.org, and Fairshake, the super PAC out there, played a big role as well. So we're going to keep showing up, trying to be an educational resource, and see if we can get some legislation passed as a next step. There's already stablecoin legislation being drafted in the House and the Senate. There's a market structure legislation that'll help clarify which of these crypto assets are commodities, securities, payment tokens, or something else like artwork. And then I think we should get the strategic Bitcoin reserve that got announced last night codified into law too. So we're hoping Congress can work on that. Anyway, all of us can help as an industry to help show up and just appreciate President Trump's leadership here. I think the rest of the G20 are looking at America now on offense in this industry and will be likely to follow suit. So talk to you soon.
Yeah, so he's got a solid point along the lines of most likely China, Russia, and you can name it, it's like Middle East. They're all looking at what the U.S. now is doing. They're waiting, of course, for actual confirmations. They're probably waiting for what the U.S. is going to do with regards to altcoins. As one of the reasons some of the altcoins are dropping today is because it's stated that they did not plan to have a strategic digital assets reserve straight away, but mostly just mentioned them because they're the top cryptos. But I kind of partially doubt that, because it's funny to me that they didn't mention Dogecoin at the start, didn't mention BNB at the start, they just mentioned a few others. And I kind of think those are also US-based ones, and so probably they maybe just over-announced a bit along the lines of by the way, why is pi so high? Wait a minute, what? Why is pi 11th? What? Story for a different day. Okay, let's skip that for now. Interesting. I was going to say, I kind of feel as if we already have it quite certain, already quite confirmed that XRP, Solana, Cardano are all going to be held by the government. And I kind of seeing it like this. Let's just say what I think is going to happen soon, specifically for XRP, is the case is probably going to be over soon because so many cases have been dropped by the new Trump administration, the new SEC. I kind of believe that very, very soon here, the Ripple case will also be dropped. But more important here is just to give you an idea. Here's some of the cases that were dropped very recently here. Binance, Coinbase, OpenSea, Robinhood, Uniswap, Gemini, Justin Sun's case, Consensus, Kraken, Yuga Labs, DRW. Probably a few more, but just to give a good idea. And so since these were all dropped just now for the past 2 weeks or so, there's a good chance the Ripple case will also be dropped here. And we're kind of thinking an interesting part that most likely from the moment then that Ripple pays the fine, because I still think the case being dropped, by the way, means either they take back everything, but I kind of believe that just means they're going to drop their rebuttal. They're going to drop their motion to, let's just call it do things over, to keep it in a non-legal way, just the simplest way. They're going to drop that. Ripple will probably still have to pay a fine, but nobody cares about that. It's 120 million, something like that. But to a company like Ripple, that's obviously peanuts. And the interesting part becomes maybe, I'm just speculating here, but maybe that was also something that the guys at Ripple discussed with Trump. Like, hey, we want to give you guys 120 million for some of the whatever we did, whatever. If you hold that, you keep your promise to the people, there's a good chance, I'm not sure if how bro to bro they're talking, but if you hold that, there's a very good chance from 125 million is going to go to 1.25 billion at a baseline, but let's just say way more. So it's basically free government money, maybe way more over time, right? But let's just say in a free, simple way. If the payment needs to be made in XRP, for example, or should be made in XRP. And then from there, theoretically speaking, all they have to do is just hold it and make an announcement, and they're working for their own backs. I mean, the reason I'm saying this is a possibility, more so than what I previously stated, is because Trump made an announcement saying, hey, whoever wants to buy TikTok in the US, they can do it with a partner being the United States government. So that means the state owns half and they own half. With what he stated, with the government, it's worth $1 trillion. Without the government, it's worth 0. So if you decide to buy it, make sure you give us half, so to speak, and we'll make sure it's worth a ton because we'll give you the permits. And I kind of felt the same with the crypto part here, meaning they might have discussed saying, hey, if you don't give me a good chunk, if you don't donate a lot to the state, whatever, with these U.S.-based companies, you will not get the proper license, or some people might call it like a bit of extortion, but I just call it business. That's what Trump's known for, right? In this case, this specific case, it might just be if you don't pay it in XRP, we keep blah 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 blah. You're gonna get this whatever sanctions you can think of, whatever troubles you can think of. He's the tariff king, right? And the discussion just basically came down to them making an agreement of how much this could earn the U.S. government's pot, by providing XRP as one of these strategic reserve currencies or whatever. And I think this is my personal statement, but I think that this is what Trump is all about, making sure his numbers look as good as possible. And if by allowing this crypto thing, he can just get a bigger state pot by allowing, for example, donations from these companies, or by allowing the fines to be paid in that currency, and then the price appreciates because the government supports it. Let's just say they need to give the government a certain amount. I'm just stating as if, right? Because the U.S. wants to have a strategic reserve of these assets, so and a donation would be appreciated. I'm not so sure how the legals would work for that. I'm just thinking forward here a bit with underlying agreements of sorts. Not plainly, but that's the plain way to see it. I still believe these things go on all the time. We as the normals just don't hear about this. But they basically donate a good chunk. Again, not confirmed. I'm just speculating. I'm just saying something that's what I'm thinking is going on in the background. As long as the government has a ton, they'll actually try push it. And that's why they chose mostly US-based currencies, because they want to see them win. It will obviously also, like 𝗏𝗏𝗀 said, create more jobs, more opportunities, allow for a significant new technological advancement realm. Because like we have with the .com bubble and the whole website boom, the area, we might have again with AI and cryptocurrencies, blockchain tech. And I still believe for the most part, the US wants to be the center of it. And all the countries are right now watching whatever the US is going to do. But Trump, even though he doesn't care, some people say, is putting it on the map, right? He's done more for crypto than anybody else ever has in terms of bringing it to the masses, or more importantly, legitimizing it. Biden brought many cases against the crypto space. Trump is taking them away. You might say, yeah, but he doesn't actually believe it. He's taking the crypto cases away. You can see it plainly in sight. So ultimately, he's reversing some of the mistakes or some of the annoying steps we saw before, that he's making proper rules for it. He's making sure that the government owns it. And you might say, yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Well, theoretically speaking, he's going to pump his own bags. He's one of the biggest Ethereum holders in the world. So from any angle, I think this is so exciting. And regardless of whether or not you thought yesterday was a bust, some people thought about it like, well, our crypto prices went down, so it was all bad. Well, no, I think a lot of people bought the rumor, sold the news because nothing new or crazy advancing was announced. So it was basically just another confirmation of what we already knew. But I kind of see it as this. That was the most bullish thing that could happen. And right now it kind of feels as a manipulatory move where they're pushing prices down because now things are starting to get confirmed that Trump is going to back this. Trump is signing the executive orders. Things are moving in the right direction. So they're pushing us down so they can buy in cheap, because now, in my opinion, officially, things have been confirmed. And so, again, my opinion, the only thing they need to do is buy as much as possible, and you're practically rich. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the matter. Anyway, guys, that was it for this little crypto update. In a bit, I'll put the camera a bit better because I'm noticing there's some possibilities here to make this look a bit more cool. Of course, real background, It's actually, a lot of people ask, like, well, green screen. No, there's no green screen, brother. Of course, again, from a different country, different house. Yesterday, different house. That's how we do it. And yeah, anyway, I'll say, like always, if you want to trade crypto, I've got a link down below to 𝗏𝗏𝗀, WeX, whatever platform you like to use. You can use it from anywhere in the world. If it doesn't work, try a VPN, but probably should work from anywhere in the world, I believe. There's a few countries that it doesn't work for, but with the VPN, everything works as they've got no KYC. Yeah, check it out. Links are down below for trading crypto. Right now is a pretty cool time. I just quickly looked at the competition that just happened. Our team won $2,000, so definitely not too bad. We were 19th in the rankings. Obviously, we didn't get to number 1, so we didn't win 70. And in terms of P&L, we got 9th with about $1,200 or so worth of winnings. So again, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Could have been better, of course. But that's why I keep saying we need ourselves a little bit of a bigger team. So if you're not done it yet, make sure you join with the link down below to 𝗏𝗏𝗀. And that's about it for right now. We'll talk more probably later today or tomorrow for another video.